Okay. This is Rock Hard Caucus. I'm out of breath. I just ran home. Stella and I are convening for an emergency podcast because we both just saw The Hollywood Reporter has announced that Chris Pratt has been cast as Garfield in a new animated feature, and my God, we are furious.
He can't be fucking Mario and Garfield. Like,
yeah, come on. That's clearly two very different characters. Like, if you play one, it's mutually exclusive. You cannot play the other.
It's a conflict of interest.
Imagine Bob Hoskins as Garfield. You can't do it. And imagine, I mean, the only Garfield, honestly, Lorenzo Music.
Yes.
Imagine him doing the Mario voice. You can't. It can't be done.
Wasn't Bill Murray tricked into being the voice of Garfield?
That's what I've read in one of those like 3D animated ones, or it was like live action, and then Garfield himself was an animated character.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. He thought it was going to be like a gritty origin story. No. He thought it was a different director. He thought it was the Coen brothers who were directing it.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
It was Joel Coen, the writer of Daddy Day Camp and Monster Mash the movie. And so by the time he discovered his error, it was tragically too late.
He's the evil third cousin of the Coen brothers that we all know and love.
the third Coen brother.
The Coen triplets. You would think that because they were born on the same day, they would go by the Coen twins, but they hide that fact about themselves by calling themselves the Coen brothers.
Are they actually twins? Are you pulling my leg right now?
I made that up.
Oh.
But anyway, I'm here, and Stella's here.
Yep, welcome back to the morning zoo.
We've been accused many times of being the morning zoo.
If you don't like the sound of women's laughter, I think you need to look inward.
This is not the podcast for you, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's at least 75% women laughing.
Yeah, if we may laugh a lot, but they're honest laughs, so.
Okay, we're not really going to talk about Garfield for an hour, although...
We certainly could. We certainly could.
We're talking about another of Indiana's superheroes.
Someone far less colorful, someone much blander.
A lot less relatable, yeah.
Yeah.
We all relate much more to this cartoon cat than this actual human being. 48th Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. I didn't know he was 48th until I saw that tonight in that video they showed us.
Oh, God.
I didn't think about it before, but we've had more vice presidents than presidents. Which, obviously.
Oh, sure.
But, I don't usually think about it.
Same.
So we saw Mike Pence tonight at the Iowa Memorial Union in Iowa City. And what's your main takeaway from tonight, Stella?
If I had to describe it in a sentence, it would be extreme lulls of boredom punctuated by intense, interesting outbursts. So we'll try to focus on the highlights. We went so you guys didn't have to.
Yep, as usual, we have attended an event, and now we will tell you about it. The easiest kind of episode to produce.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that because we had to go see this idiot actually speak. Oh my God. He is one of the most boring people and most evil people who has ever lived. This was one of the worst events I've ever attended. The last event I attended actually in the IMU was Brian Stevenson reading from his book Just Mercy and like talking about abolishing the death penalty and like, wow, there is no antimatter. If Brian Stevenson is matter, Mike Pence is antimatter. It was like the complete opposite of that event in every single way.
Yeah. Before Mike came out to speak to us, we were recalling events that we had attended in the IMU before. I said I saw Elizabeth Warren in that room for about 5 minutes. I do think she had a smaller crowd than Pence, from what I remember.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. It was a pretty cozy event.
That's surprising because she won Johnson County.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit early. It was like,
Okay.
because, you know, she announced like, I think the beginning of 2019 or like late 2018. So it wasn't quite like full campaign season yet.
Should
But yeah, thank you for reminding me that we live in the only county Elizabeth Warren won in the 2020 primary.
Yep.
The shameful fact that I remember every couple days.
Should we start from the top when we got there?
Yeah, you actually got there before me. So did you see anything interesting before I got there?
Yeah, let me relate what, as a primary source, I'll tell you what occurred. So we talked a little bit about like trying to blend in the way you and Natalie successfully were able to blend into the Trump rally crowd. But
Yeah.
I can't hide who I am, Justin. I like walked, so you walk up to the IMU and there was like a group of maybe 20 plus protesters with signs and chalking the sidewalks and playing music and stuff. And I kind of like tried to stand off to the side while I waited for you and just kind of like observe. But a couple minutes later, like someone just like walked up to me and handed me a fuck Pence sign and just got kind of absorbed into the protest, which was cool. They were playing music such as hits by the Black Eyed Peas, a rap song called Fuck Donald Trump.
Yes,
and then
that was very popular at the BLM protests in 2020,
Yeah.
that song.
It was cool. I hadn't heard it actually, so I liked it. And then there was another song about Molly and Percocet that was really good. I'm just mentioning these because the protest music was way better than the shit we had to listen to inside the IMU.
Yeah, which was mostly silence.
Yes, yeah. Oh, we'll get to that.
They played a lot of John Cage in there, if you know what I mean.
Music majors know, baby. All my Cage heads.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of weird music fans that listen to this, and we'll get the joke.
Yeah.
Well, since you mentioned the chalking, I took these photos after the event, but I do think I should just mention them now. Among the chalked messages outside the IMU, one of them was "Shock me, Daddy." I think is reference to Mike Pence's support of shock therapy as a gay conversion method, right? And then this one, which I'm not sure I can explain, "This man ate my son." I don't know what that one means.
That's so good. I love that. Yeah, most of the signs that I observed started with an expletive. Like fuck Pence, fuck fascists, fuck Nazis, etc. Yeah.
Which, if you listen to our previous episode, about half the episode was about the phrase "Let's go, Brandon," and that's a stark contrast right there. It's just like how easy it is to be an adult and say the F word if you are protesting political figures instead of in love with them.
I think the most intense part of the protest. Well, okay, so everyone's protesting, and the people who started to file into the IMU, they looked like your typical college Republicans. There were some older folks there, like middle-aged people.
Yeah.
They looked pretty alarmed by the signs and the chalk and everything. At one point, this dude came out and started filming all the protesters with like this shit-eating smirk on his face. Oh my God. I've never, like, I'm a pacifist unless you like tickle me, but I've never wanted to like punch some guy in the face more in my entire life. Like, he was just such a pompous asshole, like thankfully everyone like got in his face with their signs and stuff, but you know the type. He was like in a suit and like at one point turned around. He said like something like, "You guys tried," or something like that.
What does that mean?
I know, bitch. Like, what did you think? Like,
I mean, that's about all they plan to do, right?
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
So yeah, he sucked. And then you arrived.
Right. That was about when I got there. I saw the guy with the camera. I was wearing basically the same uniform I wore to the Trump rally. I didn't bring my Texas hat, though, and I didn't figure I would need it. Iowa City, Mike Pence, it's going to be probably not quite as... I mean, they know that libs are going to show up, right? It's in Iowa City.
Yeah.
I figure they're not going to, like, really be that mad if I go in there.
No. Yeah. They let us in just fine.
Right. There was basically no security, actually.
The only, like, I felt kind of bad because, like, we were part of the protesters and then we, like, went into the IMU and I was like, God, they're going to think we're traitors. But I think a lot of liberal people were going into, like, some people were there to kind of just hear what he had to say. And as
we were there to give him a fair shake, obviously. Right?
Oh, yeah. Hear the man out.
Well, a bunch of those protesters know me, so I think they understood they know I'm just trying to get the content.
Yeah. But they, like, there was no security. I don't even know if vice presidents get Secret Service. There was, like, one cop there. Maybe they were plainclothes officers, but they let us in. They didn't pat us down. Like, we just showed our tickets on our phones or whatever, and then they let us right in. Yeah, I was surprised by that, actually.
Yeah. Well, my friend Oliver, who I don't think would mind me saying he was there with the protesters, I talked to him a little bit after the event, and he told me that former vice presidents do still get Secret Service. But I mean, I don't know if they were in that room at all. I didn't see anyone that looked like Secret Service.
Yeah, maybe he gets one guy.
And he stayed backstage. He just had a Secret Service driver.
Yeah, well, we did hear that he gets to drive his own car now, Mike Pence, that is, and pump his own gas. So
yeah, that was one of his jokes that did land, actually. What did he say? Oh, yeah, he's said, one of the advantages of not being vice president anymore is I get to drive my own car. So that's one of the best things about losing an election for him.
Yeah, so then we got in, and then, oh my gosh, so it was just a weird vibe in there. We were some of the only people who were wearing masks, I observed.
Well,
and go ahead.
After having gone to that Trump event, I would say there were quite a bit more people wearing masks at this.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I'm sure that's a good contrast. Like, I was hoping to see some sassy T-shirts. You said there was definitely, like, less merch.
Oh, yeah.
On
it was
display.
A lot. Yeah, like I said, it was a lot less focused on branding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was definitely, like, a college Republicans type of event. This lady was like, okay, that man in the suit will seat you. And so we, like, start walking towards him. And as we turned a corner, we realized he was, like, in a suit coat, but also jeans. It was like he was wearing half a suit. Like, what?
Yeah. Which I've worn that outfit plenty of times.
Yeah. Don't call it a suit, though, ma'am.
I'm not a member of the Young Americans for Freedom hosting the previous vice president.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That just cracked me up so much. And then she was drunk with power. She kept making us scoot, change seats. She packed us and, like, some other people who were not applauding and doing standing ovations for Trump. She put us all together. At one point, someone came over and, like, took a bunch of photos of us. That was weird.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the, like, press situation was.
Yeah.
Like, who was taking photos for what. I mean, whatever. It's an event at the IMU. I don't really care if my photo is taken.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, are we going to be on the cover of lame Republican quarterly as, like, supporters of former Vice President Mike Pence?
Yeah. I did just retweet the YAF account. They posted a video of leftists telling YAF activists that they are subhuman. So that's the kind of media that's made it out of this event tonight.
Oh God. So we're sitting in our seats and there's no music playing. Like they could have had a video playing. They had, like, everything set up to do that, but it was just like a silent. Well, I mean, people were like talking,
Yeah.
but it just felt weird. It was so boring. We were just like waiting there forever. Just
There was
like
zero
nothing.
Elton John being played at this event.
Zero entertainment.
Yeah. So we were kind of like, there were like empty seats throughout the crowd. And I think the room was less than half full also. Not a great turnout.
No.
But the woman who was drunk with power, as you said, made us kind of scoot together. So I ended up like sitting way too close to this like earnest conservative college girl. So I was trying to hide my phone from her as I took notes.
As like he would say something and you'd write like in your notes, "Dumb bitch."
This idiot next to me loves this shit.
She's shoveling this garbage in her mouth and chewing it up, and she loves it. She loves it. She's a dirty little freak. Yeah, so then they had, I think, the YAF, the Iowa City chapter, and like their chapter is like 8 people. Mike Pence called it small but mighty, but
yeah. Well, I do want to note before we get into the actual speeches,
yes.
You were talking about how weird the vibe was, and there was like no pre-show music. There was nothing coming out over the PA.
Yeah.
Well, there was this moment where we all heard somebody tapping on a microphone.
Yeah.
Nobody was on stage, but we all together collectively assumed, oh, it's about to start. We went silent like very
a hush
quickly.
Fell over the auditorium. And the way like they tapped, it sounded like someone was knocking at a door. And I leaned over to you and I said, "That's Mike Pence. Better let him in."
Yeah.
But then we were quiet for several minutes and nothing happened. So
it was eerie, like how quickly the room went silent. And then after a couple minutes, just as quickly, people just started talking again. It was like a switch being flipped. It was very odd. It wasn't like it trickled back up to conversational levels.
Yeah.
It was like on and off, 0 and 1.
In that environment, I was thinking a lot about like those psychological, like being in a crowd and like how you might behave differently based on like how the crowd is behaving, and like those. I haven't been in, I think, a group in a setting like that in quite a while because of the pandemic.
Right.
So it was weird how we all kind of, those cues that we pick up on, and because of the lax security too, I was feeling like, oh my God, like it would be so easy for someone to sneak in some kind of weapon and
well, I had a gun on me.
But like at the beginning of it, I was like kind of tense and feeling like a little bit shaky about that, just because like I'm scared of everything. And then towards the end of the event, I was like, God, if someone like opens fire on the crowd, I'm gonna be so mad that they waited until the end of the event. I had to listen to this whole stupid speech.
Yeah, this is my final moments were spent here.
Yeah.
They couldn't have at least spared us from the speech.
Yeah, put me out of my misery. So the speeches themselves, the first guy, the president of the chapter, he maybe he was nervous. Public speaking is hard.
Yeah.
Everybody hates it. I hate it. But like he talked so fast.
His name is Hunter Morrow.
Oh my God. Perfect young Republican name.
And I have his email address because when I signed up for this event, the invitation that came to my inbox included his email address, CC'd.
Really?
So, so Hunter and I are on each other's contact lists now.
All right. Nice. Yeah.
So hope to hear from him soon.
Yeah. I don't have any notes from his speech. Do you?
No, not really. He was just a kid, introducing the former vice president.
Yeah.
I did notice while he was speaking the slight delay on the video screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a little trippy.
I'm glad it wasn't just me. It became a lot more obvious when Pence was up there and he was doing the like up-down motion with his hand, and it was like opposite on the video screen. When his hand was up in real life, it was down on the screen.
Oh my
and they were
gosh.
like perfectly out of sync. That was very distracting to me.
Yeah. No insects landed on him or crawled out of him at any point, we can report.
Yeah, you heard that SNL recently did a sketch about a fly landing on Mike Pence?
Yeah, I think it was last week.
That is bizarre.
I thought, like, I heard about it, and I was like, oh, that's not very good. And then
I can't imagine why would they still be referencing the vice presidential debate from a year ago? Has that fly just been a running character for the past year?
well, he's not a cast member, he's a featured player. He and Lauren like seem pretty tight though.
They have James Austin Johnson playing that guy now, the fly.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay.
Oh, did you find something?
Did I find reference to it? Okay, let's see here. Okay, yes. This is from 2021. Oh, no, wait. You know what I'm thinking of? It wasn't Saturday Night Live. It was the Emmys.
Oh.
Still. But this happened like a month ago, and they referenced it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
When did the Emmys happen?
September 2021.
Good God. They did an SNL Mike Pence fly reference at that?
They just did I think it was a bit about the fly on Mike Pence's hair, which was
one of the most memorable moments in television entertainment of the past year. Yeah. Ridiculous.
It's so dumb. Okay, well, if you can keep any of that, good luck, my friend.
Well, anyway, after Hunter spoke, they played for us like an intro video for Mike Pence to come out to. Do you remember anything from this? There's only like two things I recall.
There's one major thing. So the video is structured like things are really bad and it's Biden's fault. And then but like Mike Pence is so inspiring and America is great and we can turn this thing around. Like that was kind of how it was structured. But when they were showing all the bad stuff about like the state of the country, they showed a clip of like Biden falling down the stairs.
Yes. Or falling up the stairs, actually.
Yes, excuse me. Yes. Well, I mean, he was going up, falling down.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I'm trying to remember the exact language they used, but it was like something like when America basically is at its greatest crises, like that's when we're at our best and like when we're facing evil and we're like overcoming these really terrible like national crises. And they showed a picture of Hitler and then they showed a picture of Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh wow.
And yeah, like just like right next, I was just like, what the fuck? Like it was
when
bad.
we've faced the evils of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
banding together against the
oh my
evil.
God, not good editing. So I think like it'd be fair to say the production of the video, the production of the evening was lacking.
Yeah. This was a video produced by Advancing American Freedom, which I just looked up is an organization that Mike Pence started this year.
Great.
It's like a PAC or something. I don't know exactly how it's structured, but it's his, political committee thing. Maybe he'll run for president. Won't that be exciting?
God.
But, when that clip of Biden falling on the airplane stairs came up, everyone in the room was laughing.
Oh,
together.
yeah. That was like, honestly, I felt really united with everyone there.
It was a unifying moment.
Yeah.
We all started yelling, let's go, Brandon, together.
I was surprised that didn't happen, actually. When people started chanting, it was just USA. Which,
yeah, they did the very, very respectful USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a moment in that video where Pence was bragging hard about the vaccines.
Yeah. Did you see there was like a family right in front of us? And
I was wondering if you noticed that too.
Yeah. When Pence started talking about like how great and safe the vaccines were in that video, the mom and dad like gave each other these looks like, what the fuck? Vaccines are bad though. Like,
yeah. The knowing look like, we're here to support you, sir, but definitely not the poison you've been spreading.
Oh, I'm glad you caught that too.
And then our friend Mike, he came onto the stage to the best song ever taking care of business.
By BTO.
Bachman
Turner
Overdrive.
Well, he's the man, he came of age in the late 70s. So
aren't they a Canadian band?
Oh my god. That would be a big scoop.
Yes, they are from Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oh my god.
I thought so.
Where's Kid Rock from? Because Kid Rock was
he's
the
from
outro
Detroit.
music.
He's from Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. That's right. Famously.
Yeah. That's when he asked the kids of the YAF chapter to stand and be recognized, and we saw
8 of them.
Like single digits, not allowed kids.
One in a Make America Great Again hat.
There was a handful of those in the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see those around Iowa City very much.
No.
For good reason.
There was also, you noticed a guy who looked like he was about to explode. He had a hat that said, like, socialism sucks or something to that effect.
The guy who looked like he may have been a veteran.
He looked like he'd seen some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his story, and I don't know if I could handle hearing it, quite frankly.
Yeah, like you said, there was not a lot of focus on the cool T-shirts and stuff, so we really zeroed in on what little there was.
We're bringing you guys the scraps.
Yeah.
Do you have notes from his actual speech?
I have a handful, yeah.
Okay.
He noted the wonderful turnout, and as I mentioned, I think the room was less than half full.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike Pence is that much of a draw,
It made me wonder, like, how many people have been going to his other college campus lectures. I think that's what he's doing right now is a college campus lecture series. So, he told us all to go into the military
more than once.
Yeah, that was like a major theme. Like, we should all join the military.
Yeah, and we should save that for when we talk about the Q&A.
Yeah.
But there's a big joining the military story. I should try to find the exact quote from this, but right at the beginning of his speech, he said something to us, or this was directed at college students, but he said, "Yours is the freedom generation."
He said that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll keep everything that's great. I want to find the audio clip because it was
I believe yours is the freedom generation, and your generation will keep everything that's great about our republic. I believe it.
Unintelligible what he was saying.
Oh God, he's not a good. I mean, he did you can tell he kind of has the speaking style of a pastor because he's so religious, and then he did talk radio. He said that he was Rush Limbaugh on decaf.
Yes, that's how he described the Mike Pence show.
We both laughed pretty hard at that.
There was no reverence in that at all. And
no.
Rush Limbaugh was a conservative hero for 40 years and died not long ago. And
no.
He was just a punchline in this Mike Pence speech.
He said that Mike Pence had 20 radio stations on for his syndicated show, and Rush Limbaugh had thousands, right?
A million. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in every market area.
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere where you couldn't pick up Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To his death, I think. I mean, I know we could get him here. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mike Pence show is definitely a Indiana phenomenon.
Right. Yeah. Before he talked about his radio show, he gave us a little bit of early bio stuff. And I don't know much about Mike Pence really because he's very boring. I forget that he had a radio show every time someone tells me that. But he was a high school Democrat.
Yeah, he said he was originally a Democrat, and then he said he was even a community organizer. I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be a dig at Obama or I'm basically Obama. But then Reagan happened, and I never looked back. Was basically what he said. Yeah,
that's how I interpreted the community organizer thing too, because he said it and he sort of tilted his head at the audience.
Yeah.
Like it was an Obama joke. But like, are we the only ones who are old enough to understand that joke in the crowd? Because no one laughed. There was like nothing, no response when he said that.
Yeah.
Here's probably the only good thing he said all night. His granddaughter was an avocado for Halloween yesterday.
Yeah. Aw.
We all applauded for that.
Yeah, that was the only time I clapped, I think. Yeah, his 7-month-old grandchild.
That was another moment of unity.
I wonder what, she'll think of him when she's living on a dying planet and his role in accelerating that.
I should look at his Instagram and see if he posted any pictures of that.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cute.
Yeah. So, yes, he credits Reagan for his turn to conservatism.
He loves Ronald Reagan. Loves him so much.
And he sort of did this then and now thing when he started talking about Reagan. How now Reagan is almost universally admired.
Yeah.
But he used to be this contentious figure. People hated him back in the day. And I guess he's kind of right. I think Reagan is looked back on much more favorably than. Mm-hmm. Although, he did win the biggest landslide election of the past century.
I think even Minnesota went for him when he was against, was it Caucus perhaps?
No, Dukakis ran against Bush Sr. When Walter Mondale ran against Reagan in 1984, Minnesota is the only state that Mondale won.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because Mondale
I remembered
is from,
all of that completely wrong.
just inverted, kind of. Mondale, he was from Minnesota, so he won his home state at least, right?
Nice.
So it didn't take long for somebody in the audience to stand up and start screaming, which was nice.
He called Mike Pence a liar and started screaming about how he wants to divide us and how he doesn't really care about the deficit. He was talking about, I think it came up when Mike Pence started talking about the deficit or something like that, or the military, and this guy started yelling about the military spending and stuff like that, and then he was escorted out.
Yeah, he opened with yelling about how something the Trump administration did added a bunch of to the deficit, and I was like, who cares though? I like
money's not real. Yeah.
I like that you're screaming at him, but
yeah, we could have helped him with this message, but I appreciated the yelling.
He looked pretty nervous, but
yeah, he was nervous.
He was escorted away from the room, so good luck to him.
Mike Pence talked a lot about wokeness and cancel culture.
Yes, that was a big focus.
Yeah.
It
was so stupid.
He talked about that a lot more than anybody at the Trump rally, surprisingly.
Really? Yeah.
So I guess Pence is a little more in touch with what the college Republicans want to hear, which is that there should be no consequences for their expression of their awful political beliefs.
Yeah. He and we'll get to it there was a Q&A section after the speech, but he called upon all of the young Republican coders in the audience to invent a conservative social media platform to compete with the ones that people are actually on. Calling people
tried. Out. Let's go, Brandon. Join Getter.com. Remember that classic from 2 episodes ago?
Oh, God, yeah. Whatever happened to Parler?
Parler, yeah. We went over that before. But
yeah.
They keep popping up. They get deleted from the app stores because they're all totally insecure, and your credit card information will be sold to Ukrainians and whatever. But
oh, you meant insecure from a security perspective. I thought you meant the people on them are pathologically not doing so hot.
Here was a joke that did land.
Mm-hmm.
He had a handful of them throughout the speech. I wonder if he wrote them himself, and this comes from his history as a radio host.
Oh, he definitely thinks he's funny and clever. 100%.
the Democrats are moving so fast on their agenda that sometimes it seems like the left hand doesn't know what the far left hand is doing. They genuinely believe that the Democratic Party is like communist.
They truly do.
I mean, I kind of doubt that Mike Pence genuinely believes that. I can't imagine that someone with like actual political education really doesn't understand that, you know? But obviously he needs to push that to his audience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Mike Pence, he does want to go so far right that even the moderate Democrat, like what we would consider moderate Democrats, who are really basically like conservatives, like they're, I think to him, they really do seem like that far left because of abortion, because of like military spending. I mean, he wants everyone to go into the military. What a fucking psycho. And I mean, he's so anti-LGBTQ rights, like, and reproductive health care. And I mean, he won't even be in the same room as a woman if his wife isn't present.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. He is like, he's a little freak, Justin. So
he definitely had a boner behind that podium.
Oh my God. Every time he talked about Reagan, oh my gosh.
Did you think it was weird when he talked about like how handsome Reagan was? He didn't really say that. So yeah, he was going on and on about like wokeism being an assault on freedom of speech on college campuses. Cancel culture is the order of the day.
Critical race theory. He really hates critical race theory. He thinks the quote he gave was, children as young as 6 are being taught to like be racist because of the color of their skin. He means white kids. Yeah,
kindergartners are being taught to be ashamed of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, no. They have like conservatives have, and I think a lot of people don't really understand what critical race theory is, and it's just become this sort of talking point on the right where they love to kind of misconstrue what it actually is and say that it's the indoctrination of white children to be ashamed of being white and to feel like
they want essentially like the history classes that we got in high school to be like, that's as far as you can go. Like, because I mean, what were we taught? Like, not a lot.
No,
Yeah, like everything is fine.
Do you know how many?
Race relations were solved a while ago. Everything is harmonious and cool now.
I remember that paragraph in my history textbook. Every fucking year we learned about the founding fathers, and then the last couple of weeks we would jam in like World War II and everything after that. Like, barf.
Yeah. I am glad I read the autobiography of Malcolm X in high school.
Yeah,
that did open my eyes up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And I feel like we went to a pretty, progressive, or thought of itself as a progressive school. Like, I remember reading People's History of Howard Zinn as part of, we also had to read the conservative answer to that in the same class, which is like a Patriots history.
Oh, wow. Which class was that?
That was AP US History.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember reading any of that. I probably didn't. But I was in the class. Anyway, they don't want any sort of acknowledgement of race being a factor in anything anymore, or ever.
No.
I mean, they don't want like an honest accounting of slavery or
absolutely not,
or Reconstruction, especially, or anything like that.
Jim Crow. Yeah,
it's just that was before. It wasn't really so bad then, but then we figured it out, and everything is cool now.
Yeah. He said America is not a racist country, which...
Yes, very forcefully he said that.
Yeah.
And that was about the time when he encouraged everyone in the audience, well, all the college students in the audience, to join the military after they're done with college. And he left kind of a pause. I think that he thought this would be like an applause line.
Yeah.
But why would they want to do that?
Yeah. No one wants to do that, dude.
Yeah. What after college? Like, these are the kids who like were able to go to college. They're not the ones who get stuck going to the military.
Yeah.
Who think that's like a path out of their situation.
Oh
These
my
aren't
God.
the targets for military recruitment.
He did get quite a bit of applause every time he mentioned the military. He also said
Except
like
when he told them to join the military.
yeah. People were a little
Otherwise.
worried about that. They're like, ooh, I gotta run my dad's car dealership. Should we get into the Q&A? Was there anything else from the speech? I thought it was so boring. It
wasn't great. Yeah, there is one thing I want to say. He said that people are being canceled because they have different views on religious liberty, freedom of speech, and the right to life. And I don't think that's my observation of who's being canceled overall.
Yeah.
I think there's two big ones in my mind. Very explicit racism is one, and sexual assault is the other.
Yeah.
Those seem to be the only cancellations that have ever really stuck.
I mean, yeah. Do you know how hard it is to get canceled? And I like truly canceled, where it affects like your economic, opportunities or whatever, social relationships or something like that. And I just feel like they use cancel culture and wokeness to like that's how they refer to anyone criticizing their batshit ideas.
Right. Like, I should be allowed to say whatever I want, and institutions should promote my speech, even if it sucks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not fair that people think I suck.
I should be able to shape the world exactly how I want it, and if you don't agree with that, you're woke.
Yeah, and woke
You're
is
trying
bad.
to cancel me. Yeah, right.
I would love to hear Mike Pence like explain the etymology of woke. Like, where did that come from? Why do people say that? Woke as opposed to what? Like, what is being woke? So he spoke for only about half an hour before he got to the Q&A.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do want to note, he also used that phrase, like, to raise up a child, which I think has yeah. So he said that a couple times, and I read this, that's a really bad book, I think. Like, it's a biblical phrase. Yeah, that book sucks. Yeah. To train up a child or raise up a child or whatever, he mentioned that specific phrase a couple times, and he might have been referencing that part of the Bible or that quote from the Bible, but there's also a book from 1994 that's like an evangelical, written by evangelical parents, and the book is super controversial because it advocates for literal child abuse in order to make your child like obedient. And it's been linked to several murders of children. So, like, the fact that I just written an article about it.
Though, to be fair.
Yeah, that book definitely has its fair share of.
There's some child murders in the Bible, actually.
So then Mike Pence wiped the milk mustache off his upper lip, and we got into the Q&A section of the evening.
Yeah, there's a big line of people trying to get their questions in.
Yeah.
They did maybe a third of them before he shut it down.
Yeah, he was fading fast. Yeah, so someone asked him, like, what is your biggest regret?
Yes.
And he said that I didn't go into the military in 1977. He like sat down with his dad, who he described as a Korean War veteran who either got injured, he like received some sort of medal.
Yeah, he saw combat and he got a medal. And this I think was an interesting phrase. Pence said that his father saw combat and never talked about it, like most of them.
Yeah.
So you recognize that this is an extremely traumatic thing that people should not experience because it makes them shut down for the rest of their life.
Yes. So they are haunted by it for the rest of their life. I've heard that phrase. One of my grandpas was a Korean War vet and dealt with PTSD, undiagnosed PTSD for the entire rest of his life. I mean, that is something that Korean War vets especially, like, they never want to talk about what happened over there.
Yeah.
So young Mike Pence in 1977 sits down with his combat vet dad and says, I want to go into the military. And his dad said, well, if there was something going on, meaning like a war.
Right, because Vietnam was a recent memory, but they had withdrawn.
Yes, one of our few years of relative peace in the last fucking 50 years. So he says, if there was something going on, yeah, you should definitely go over there and put your body into like grave danger. Mike Pence's dad wanted him to die.
Yes, this is like the complete opposite of the advice you should be giving to someone who wants to join the military. Like, why would you join during like a horrible, unjust war?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a chance, like a good chance that you're gonna die or get fucked up, you should definitely go. But in this time of like leisure and just hanging out, no. Like, why would you join the military then?
It's like your service means less because you aren't cannon fodder. So it's just like, is that really what you think of people who like volunteer to serve the military? You're all trying to get us to join Mike Pence is because that we're constantly embroiled in war.
Well, he did say this was his biggest regret, though. So he wishes that he had, despite the military being lazy pussies at the time, he does wish that he had that box checked on his resume,
Yeah, I feel like other politicians have said that too. Like, oh, my biggest regret, I didn't go to Vietnam.
That's like my smartest decision I ever made was not joining the military.
Yeah,
like I never came anywhere close to it, but still, like that could have been the worst thing I could have ever done.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then another guy came up and had such a smart question, and he was so well spoken, and he basically said, like, Mr. Former Vice President Pence, you've talked in glowing terms about Ronald Reagan throughout your speech. Like, what about all of these atrocities that he was responsible for?
Yeah, all of the horrible Reagan foreign policy, particularly in South America. South and Central America, sorry.
And Mike Pence, after like taking a beat, he said, I want to go to the library with you and give you different facts.
Yeah.
What?
Like, literally, like the one of those like liberal catchphrases, alternative facts. Like, he took us back to 2017 with that one.
Yeah. Oh, God. It was so stupid. And then, like, he didn't address any of the valid like points that
these are matters of fact that like the Reagan administration funded genocides and shit.
Yes, and have been Reagan referred to as a terrorist. Like, he mentioned several countries where these things have occurred. Pence's answer only really focused on how Reagan was good because he like got rid of the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm. He had to do all those atrocities to show peace through strength to the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's such a creepy. I fucking.
Sounds pretty Orwellian to me. Peace through strength. War is peace.
100%. Yeah. Another question was about how people don't want to work anymore.
That kid, what a little fucking twerp.
Yeah. Oh, God, he was such a twerp.
No one wants to go back to work, and it's all...
I know. And then Mike Pence... I know. Yeah. Mike Pence said, I'm proud of the generosity of the American government providing like charity when there was a national crisis. It was like, bitch, it's my money and I want it now.
Yeah. And as part of that thing, so they were talking about how a vaccine mandate would force even more people out of the workforce.
Yes.
What a hairy situation.
What was Mike Pence's main go-to example of why vaccine mandates are bad?
He was talking about how he spoke to the owner of a trucking company. And I think he said a trucking company around here, so I have my suspicions about who he spoke to, given my connections to the industry. But apparently, whoever he was talking to, like he had surveyed his truck driver employees, and as high as 15% of them plan to quit should they be forced to get a vaccine. And Pence's reasoning there is like, I mean, truck drivers are mostly alone in a truck all day. Like, why should they have to get a vaccine? And it's like, yeah, most of the day, but they're also driving across the whole country and like hanging out at truck stops and shit, which many truck stops were not super healthy to be in prior to the pandemic. Like, yeah, I mean, that's my kind of place to hang out, but it's like a lot of them are pretty dirty. Like you could catch something there.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of COVID.
I mean, I feel like is Mike Pence's bold plan that we don't have to vaccinate truck drivers as long as we bar them from any human contact. That seems pretty fucked up.
If you have the kind of job where you never, ever speak to anyone or see them, that's fine.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to worry about your personal health in that case.
Yeah. And then, oh my God,
I think this was your favorite, right? This next one?
Oh my God, it made me so mad. This girl, or this woman, I should say. So I think she was
she was pretty young. Yeah.
Yeah, this young woman. So she walked up and she said that she was one of the inaugural women Eagle Scout recipients, or, people who had earned that. And that Eagle Scouts get a flag from the president. And President Trump didn't send her a flag, and so
apparently
she's
he discontinued that practice or something.
Yeah,
which I thought she was saying that as like a dig against the Trump administration.
Yeah,
but apparently not.
No, she said, "Mr. Pence, will you give me a flag?"
Yeah, personally requested a flag from Mike Pence.
Yeah, and he said, "Yeah, I will. I'll give you the flag that's outside my house."
Right, yeah. Well, part of it is that the president would send Eagle Scouts a flag that had flown over the White House. Like it was a special flag. I don't know how these Eagle Scouts could verify that. Though, I mean, Eagle Scouts do have a lot of skills that they learn, so maybe like flag flying verification is one of the badges.
I thought they were supposed to be pretty community minded, and I thought it was like the most selfish question you could possibly ask. I mean, the line of people to ask questions was so long, and she's like asking this like, "Can I get my flag?" Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously he can't get a flag that's currently flying over the White House, but he can send one. He can do the second best thing, which is one that has flown over the personal residence of Mike Pence.
Oh my gosh.
I can think of at least 2 Eagle Scouts who do listen to this show. So reach out. I would like to know if you have a flag that was flying over the White House. I believe both of you that I'm thinking of got your Eagle Scouts while George W. Bush was president. So I'm sure you've held on to that important souvenir.
I can't believe that. Why would Trump discontinue that? I don't understand.
He's too lazy to send
Where
the flags.
Are the flags going? I mean...
He just kept one flag up for his whole term. He didn't want to replace it.
Okay, yeah. He is an environmentalist. He's trying to conserve. I get you.
Something you may not know. The flag that flies at the White House, first of all, there's only one. There's one American flag on the whole premises.
Yeah,
and the president of the United States personally goes out front to the lawn every morning and raises the flag himself.
He's like softly whistling the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
And then he salutes it.
It's like the principal at a school.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump, he didn't want to wake up early, so...
Oh, who does?
Yeah. So for him, it was the same flag up the whole
Yeah,
time.
leave it up there. I'm not doing that. And thus, not a single deserving Eagle Scout, including the first lady Eagle Scouts, were able to receive their honorary Old Glory.
Maybe he discontinued the practice specifically because they were allowing girls.
I thought that's what she was going to say. I thought that's what I truly did. And then when she didn't, like, we'll see if Mike Pence follows through.
I would love to know. Like, we should have got that girl's name and like followed up with her in a few weeks.
God. Who's she going to go to next? if Pence falls through on her. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, after that was, I think, my favorite question.
This was pretty good.
This dude went up and he was saying that Mike Pence and like a handful of other members of the Trump administration and Trump inner circle on January 5th of 2021, they all had a plan together involving like not certifying the whatever the hell happened on January 6th, like that the insurrectionists were trying to halt. This guy was saying that Pence was part of some like bigger plan the day before January 6th, but he made this allegation that apparently the morning of January 6th, somebody came to Mike Pence and told him that if he went through with this plan, it would tank any like ambitions that Pence himself has to become president. I'm sure this is some QAnon shit. But the guy asked a direct question to Mike Pence, asking who that person was who approached him the morning of January 6th to make him back down from this plan. This was awesome. Like, I was so happy that someone in this crowd finally had the balls to stand up to Mike Pence for his betrayal of Donald Trump. And Mike Pence's answer was that the person who told
who was
him,
that man?
Yeah, James Madison.
And
so,
he knew he had fucking nailed it. He knew that he had landed, stuck the dismount, like he knew that he had just delivered the sickest answer he possibly could. Dude loves the Constitution.
Yeah,
Dude loves it.
I will say the crowd did seem to be on Pence's side in this exchange.
Yeah.
This was not the same crowd that Natalie and I were a part of at the Trump rally. These were people who were not super into like the stolen election narrative, it seems. Yeah. But yeah, he went into this thing about how like the founders had a process in mind and I had to honor that process, and I was sorely disappointed that we lost that election, but I had to follow the guiding light of the Constitution and the founding fathers. He doesn't sound like that at all. I don't know what's happening to my voice.
Oh God.
But yeah, that guy was sort of just like bullied out of the room. Everyone was like, "You fucking nerd."
Yeah. And then we were dismissed.
Yeah, there was a question from someone asking Mike Pence what his administration is planning to do about the debt.
And he was like, I'm not in office.
Yeah, what administration would that be?
Oh, I forgot about that because it was so dumb.
Yeah. This is also a big contrast. Like, Natalie was convinced that the crowd at the Trump rally did not give a shit about like the national debt and inflation.
Yeah.
And from the response of the crowd to like Chuck Grassley's speech, I think she was definitely right about that. But there were a lot more people at this event that were gravely concerned about the deficit and all that. Mm-hmm. Probably because it's like college Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest dorks on earth.
Trying to remember some of the other hits. He really stressed the themes of reading the Constitution, getting into the Constitution. He read like his part of his speech was like structured around the preamble.
Right.
Boring. Yeah, it's like been there, done that.
These old school Republicans, they just love to fetishize the founders.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, I mean,
They
America
love it.
in general has that problem, but especially them.
He also talked about how we should. Oh, what was his one quote? I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order.
In that order, yes.
But the best title I've ever held,
oh my
D-A-D.
oh boy. I mean, it didn't make the list you just said, but so maybe it should be father, then Christian, then conservative, then Republican.
I think he probably put Christian first. Christian
Above father, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably, yeah. Well, I'm going to make a list for him.
Okay.
Heterosexual is number 1. Racist.
I was surprised he didn't bring up his wife at all. The only
Right,
time they mentioned his wife was the guy, Hunter, who gave his speech before when he was introducing Mike Pence, and he called Karen Pence the love of his life. But
He kind of like mumbled that too. You remember that? The love of his life? He was trying to talk so fast. Yeah.
I could not understand a third word of
Yeah.
what this kid was trying to say. He was talking so fast. It was
Yeah.
like when you accidentally hit 1.75 speed on your podcast audio player.
I'm sure some listeners can relate. And, we didn't mention this, but after Hunter Morrow introduced Mike, once Mike came out on stage, there was like a subtle dig at Hunter's introduction.
Oh, yeah.
He said, like, I told Hunter backstage I usually prefer a shorter introduction.
It's like Hunter, he was doing his best. He really was. Maybe when Mike Pence was like, I want a shorter introduction, Hunter was just like, okay, I gotta give it really fast.
Yeah. Well, that was the lead in to his Christian conservative Republican thing.
Yeah.
So that was just like the setup for the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then DAD, that was the tag to the punchline. He is. I think he probably does think about things in terms of like a stand-up comedian from his radio experience. Because you got to be entertaining, and you got to structure it in similar ways. You mentioned the like preacher style too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, at least like if you ever listen to Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck, like at least you're like kind of entranced by I think obviously they're monsters, but like you listen to it and you're like interested in what they're saying, and like they hold your attention, but Mike Pence, just like, he was so boring. I just don't understand who this is, like, who enjoys this.
Well, yeah, like you said, Rush Limbaugh on decaf, which means less interesting Rush Limbaugh.
Maybe I feel like they just put him on the radio because he could just talk forever, and so they just needed to fill the air.
Yeah. Well, I think, Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck are like particularly talented members of the conservative media. And there are thousands of other guys who are probably more boring than Mike Pence, but there's so much.
Oh my God.
There's so much money being shoveled into that it's like,
Oh, I didn't even think about those guys.
You don't have to be on the Rush Limbaugh level to be part of that, world.
You just have to be Rush Limbaugh on some kind of substance.
Yeah. Much like Rush Limbaugh himself for many years. The man loved his pills, folks.
Yeah. I'm Rush Limbaugh on decaf. Rush Limbaugh was Rush Limbaugh on opioids.
Yep.
So I'm curious. Well, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I was just going to say that the exit song was...
Yes.
We believe, anyway, I was Googling the lyrics, Born Free by Kid Rock, possibly a cover version, because it didn't sound like Kid Rock's voice.
Yeah, I'm curious what tune if you're gonna, put clips of all the songs we've referenced throughout the episode, or what you're gonna play at the end. My strong vote is for that Molly Percocet song.
Okay.
It's just like but Kid Rock, we can do that too.
Yeah, maybe I'll do like little clips as you mention them, and then, as the event ended with Kid Rock, we should do the same, perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But, that wasn't particularly fun, but at least we had each other.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun to kind of... I'm glad we noticed some of the same things, and we both had the exact same thought. Mike Pence's dad wanted him to die. Like, it felt good. It felt good.
Yeah.
Being there with you. And I think a couple of the ladies next to us on my side were also just not feeling it. As I was walking back to my car, this girl who was walking ahead of me, she was on the phone with sounded like maybe her mom, and she was like, yeah, I listened, I was respectful, but he is so stupid and I hate him, and like she just thought he was the worst. So
yeah. I did hang out with the protesters for a little bit outside after it was over. And they had sort of like linked arms and set up a barricade outside of the IMU, forcing everyone to take the ADA ramp instead of the stairs, which, not that much of an inconvenience.
No.
But even so, as I was hanging around, there were people like forcing their way through
oh my God.
the linked people, forcing a confrontation,
Yeah. There was...
I didn't see this, but apparently there was a guy who like pushed a protester into his own girlfriend, which was...
Damn.
Yeah, it's a smart move. He's so blinded by rage that he's making his girlfriend a domino in his path.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah. Well,
right.
I think we've covered the event.
I think we've exhausted the topic.
Yeah, as thoroughly as it needed to be.
I wonder if he's staying in Iowa City tonight, or if he's like traveling to the next campus, how that all works.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine he's the kind of guy who's in bed by 8:30,
Yeah, it was late for him.
Yeah. He and, what's his wife's name?
Karen.
I wonder, is she on this tour with him?
I don't know. I think there might be trouble in paradise because he did not talk about her once. I have heard as well that she was pretty upset because she thinks Donald Trump is a fucking creep, which he is. When
she thinks that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What could make her think such a thing?
Oh, I don't know. Just the first 70 years of his fucking life. And so she was pretty upset when Pence agreed to be his running mate.
Yeah.
But Mike Pence was like, babe, there's no way that he's going to be the president. And then he fucking was, you guys. Yeah. So.
Well, he wouldn't have called her babe.
No, he would have called her mother.
Right. Yes, we all know what he calls her.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening. We do have a Patreon if you enjoy our program and would like to hear more of it. Well, October was a great month for our show. 3 episodes on Patreon, 3 free episodes. Wow. It's almost approaching a real podcast.
That's the beauty of the free market, baby.
Yeah. But we do have an episode of Stella and Natalie's Toxic Feminine Mystique series in the pipeline now. So actually, you know what? I'm probably going to release that before I release this episode. So head on over to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus and you can listen to the Toxic Feminine Mystique episode 15. Probably right now as you're listening to me say it.
Yeah, that's definitely the antidote for thinking about Mike Pence.
Yeah, thinking about the horrifying state of abortion in America will make you feel a lot better.
I forgot that's what we covered. Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's Natalie and our friend of the pod, Anastasia, are discussing, I think, adoption. in this episode.
In relation to, like, as in, quote, alternative to abortion.
Oh, this episode, we're back to form. It's a real bummer. So
Great. Well, thank you, Stella, for enduring that event with me and recapping it.
My pleasure. It was horrible, but I enjoyed suffering through it with you.
Yes. Do not recommend Mike Pence to folks listening.
No.
1 star. Would not return. Okay, this has been Rock Hard Caucus. Good night.
Fast on a rough road, riding high through the mountains, climbing, twisting, turning further from my home. Young like a new moon rising, fierce through the rain and lightning, wandering out into this great unknown. And I don't want no one to cry, but tell them if I don't survive, I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free. Free like a river raging strong is the wind I'm facing, chasing dreams and racing Father Time. Deep like the grandest canyon. Purpose.